Alive on the Mounjaro, it's on the pen alive, with your host David Knapp.
Thank you, Clap Track, and happy Thursday night. Welcome to the stream. I'm Dave Knapp, man on the Mounjaro. That's why I'm here. You are on the pen. That's why you're here. Wegovy, Saxenda, Victoza, Trulicity, Mounjaro. That pen. You're on that pen. So welcome if that's you on semaglutide, dulaglutide, liraglutide, Tirzepatide, any of the utides, you're all welcome here. We're all here to share a little bit about our journeys. We're all here to learn a little bit more about the medications we're on, and we're all here to equip ourselves to have the best and most competent conversation that we can have with our medical team as we work with them to make decisions for the betterment of our health. How are you tonight? If it is your first time here, please put an N in the chat so that I can welcome you by name. I would love to welcome you by name because we love having new people join us here at On the Pen. So thank you if you're new here. Special shout out to the members of the channel. There were several members that joined just before we started. So Cassandra, Dustin, and Lil Chi all became members right before the start of the show. So thank you for becoming members. They joined us in our pregame. If you would like to become a member also, you can do that very easily. There's a link in the description of this video that tells you just how to do that. You just follow that link. Follow that link. And for only $2.99 a month, that's the starting amount that you can just say, I want to give back to what's going on here at Man in the Mounjaro. I appreciate the content and I want to continue to see it. So the members of this channel, they make this thing go. And they're the reason that I can continue to do this and justify the time and the effort that it takes to put into making the content that I put here. So thank you for being the best part of this channel, the members. If you want to become a member, again, the link is in the description of this video. How are we all doing tonight? It's so good to have you. Miss Tapman said, yeah, you can also order a shirt. And just because Miss Tapman said that, Miss Tapman's going to get a little screen time. There's Miss Tapman in her On the Pen shirt. There's a store on my YouTube channel that you can go to and get those and get a shirt like she did, or like Kim from the Plus Sides did. Gotta love those pictures. Those are awesome. And Chrissy, of course, has some swag, but I don't have a picture of Chrissy to share. But Chrissy's here, and she's going to be here tonight, which is exciting to be able to hear from Chrissy again. Yeah, welcome. Thank you all for being here tonight. If you're new here, this show's kind of broken up into different segments that we do every week. And the first segment that we like to do on this channel is a little segment that we call housekeeping, where we just kind of go over some channel news, what's going on the channel, what's going on in my world. So we're going to get right into it. Housekeeping. You want mint for pillow? Housekeeping. Not a lot in the world of Dave Knapp, Man on the Mounjaro this week. But I have been sick. I've been really, really sick for about the last 5 days. And I've only been puke free for a little over 24 hours, but I am feeling really, really, really good. I already lost it. I've been drinking electrolytes, just trying to stay hydrated, but that's nothing new for a GLP-1er, right? So I'm feeling better because I have been sick for the better part of a week. There's no guest tonight. I am the guest, and you are the guest. All of you are the guests. So we'll talk with you. And when we have Chrissy on, I don't know that I really can consider Chrissy a guest as much as she is a co-host, but Chrissy will be here. So we'll just be talking to each other and talking to you in the chat a little bit later on in the show. Also wanted to say thank you to a member of the channel, Julie, who shared with me a couple of her little creations. Little man on the, literally he's on the pen. A little Mounjaro man on the Mounjaro on the pen, and Mrs. Mounjaro. So thank you so much to Julie for those. Those are super, super sweet of you to have shared with me. I will always remember you when I keep these on my desk. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, I'm feeling better. The family seems to be good. Everybody's good. Hopefully that's it for the sickness, and hopefully we're done dealing with it for a good long while. My family's been adjusting. All 4 kids started school a couple weeks ago for the first time outside the house, as they were homeschooled before. My wife started a job for the first time in 10 years outside the house. She had homeschooled our kids up until then. Now they're all under the same roof at the school that my wife and I met at and fell in love at. Life comes full circle, doesn't it? So we're just in the adjustment phase of that, fighting sicknesses. It's just been chaos in the Knapp household, but really happy to be here with you tonight. And I really appreciate everyone who makes the time and effort to be here every week faithfully. It's so good to be here with you all. That's what I got for the housekeeping this week. Thank you to those who became members this week. Some people re-upped their subscriptions, so thank you to those people. I think Emmy was one of them. There was one new one this week from like Clark Funeral Home or something like that. So whoever that is, I didn't recognize that as somebody who had been in the stream before, but thank you for becoming a member. And then, of course, to those who joined at the beginning of the stream, Cassandra, Dustin, and Little Chi, thank you for becoming members. So appreciate that. So with that said, we're going to get right into another segment that we like to do on this show, and that is called What is Fresh? What's fresh? Well, there's a lot fresh in the world of GLP-1s right now. There's a lot of news going around, and I think what's really exciting is there's a lot of big news to come. We are waiting any day now for the indication, the weight loss indication for Tirzepatide to come down from the FDA. We're just weeks out from that happening, folks, and I think that is a super, super exciting thing to be talking about. So we've been going on the channel back and forth about if they rebrand, which if you followed me, you know that I really don't think that they should rebrand. I think there's a lot of manufacturing efficiencies gained from not rebranding, and because we all know Novo Nordisk cannot keep their act together when it comes to the supply chain. Wegovy is its biggest competitor, really its only competitor, with a decent, chance at cracking Mounjaro's share of the market, right? So the manufacturing efficiencies you gain by doing it all under one brand name, having to manage basically one supply chain versus two. Not to mention the money that they save in the marketing and building off the name recognition that Mounjaro has built on its own by virtue of just being a viral medication, right? So, hey, Joe Crypto's back. Hey, Joe, how are you tonight? Good to have you here. Hey, I'm going to just take a pause while we're chit-chatting here and remind everybody, if you could hit the like button, that really helps to proliferate this video throughout YouTube. Obviously, your comments make a big difference. Your emojis that you put in the chat. Thank you for the members who are throwing in the members emojis. But if you can hit that like button, that really helps to help other people see this. If you want to share it, and then there's that little love button. A little love button by your thumb. Smash that love button as well. Those are good ways to help out the channel without even spending a dime. So thank you for those who are doing that as we even speak. But yeah, so I hope they don't rebrand, but we did a little bit of research into what some of the potential names might be if Mounjaro does indeed rebrand. So we're going to take a little poll in the chat here. I'm going to go over these names one more time with you. I think I got, oh shoot, I didn't get all of them uploaded, but I've got these in here. So Luweo, right? So these are the names that were patented by Lilly recently, or I shouldn't say patented, trademarked. These are newer trademarks for drug names from this year. This one's from May. Luweo. I like that one because it's like, as other people had pointed out before I did, lose weight, yo. Sometimes you just want to lose weight, yo. And I can already hear the commercials for this one, right? Lose weight with Luweo. It just seems to work, right? But then you got this one. This is the Tolkien character, Elvdeka. Elvdeka. If Tolkien named Mounjaro, it would be called Elvdeka. And so apparently it's been trademarked by Eli Lilly. And then you have Sabaya, or Sibaya, as somebody else pointed out, like you're saying to your weight, see ya, bye ya. So those are the three options. There was one other one that I didn't get in here, and it's called Nicelvi, right? So you've got three choices: Luweo, Elvdeka, Sibaya, and Nicelvi. What are your choices? I mean, obviously, none of the above is not an option. You got to pick one of these trashy names, right? So, and as, VG pointed this out earlier in this week, that Lua is moon in Portuguese. So I'm pretty sure I have to go with that one, right? And just, because I could be man on the Luweo, right? Luweo, we say Luweo. Luweo coming and I lose the weight. 2.5. Luweo coming, I lose the weight. All right. Sometimes I forget that I'm doing a show. That happens sometimes. So Luweo. Oh, Dustin's going with Elvdeka. It's got kind of a strong name. Elvdeka. Tammy's with Luweo. Sivaya, Mia says. Yeah, it sounded to me like you got a pretty good response from the video that I put out. It sounded like that people really liked Luweo in general. So I'm with you. I don't love Luweo. I still like Mounjaro better, and I don't love Mounjaro, but Luweo I thought was maybe the best option. So we'll see what happens. There were many people that commented, especially over on TikTok, that were like, it's not going to be any of those names. And I'm like, okay, great. Well, what is it going to be then, Smarty? These are the ones I found patent or trademarks for. So what do you know? There's so many people that act like they have the inside track on this stuff, like they work at Lilly. And I'm like, pretty sure the people that work at Lilly aren't on TikTok talking about what Lilly's going to do next. If they are, they aren't with Lilly for that long. I'll tell you that much. That I can tell you. So yeah, Amy says, how do they come up with these crazy names? And I honestly think sometimes it is like it's a mashup of, it's a mad gab of words like Luweo, lose weight. Oh, like you just think about the way that it's going to flow. Lose weight with Luweo. I don't know. Sibaya, says Betty. Chrissy says, I want Luweo and say baya to the weight. 100%. See, it just rolls off the tongue. It works. So we'll see what happens. I really hope that they don't rebrand. I think that the probability has always been like a very low probability that will happen. But if they do, I think we'll know pretty soon, as that weight loss indication is supposed to come around imminently within weeks. So we're looking forward to that on this channel. I'm not sure what we're going to do when that indication does happen, but I think we got to find some sort of way to celebrate it. So if y'all can think of some way to celebrate the weight loss indication coming online, let me know what your thoughts are. Stacy made the trek over here from TikTok. Thanks for being here, Stacy. Jennifer also, I think you made the trek from TikTok. Mr. Q. So Mr. Q said if they rebrand but not change the doses, there's no point of rebranding. Yeah, and I don't think that the doses are going to change. It might be that, the titration schedule might be different, but the dosing I don't think is going to change. Everybody's like, I've heard of 20 milligrams, 25, 30 milligrams. I never saw any higher doses in the Surmount trials. So I saw no increase in dose in the SURMOUNT trial, so I don't know that we should expect a higher dosage for the weight loss, right? Otherwise, we would have heard about that as we read through the clinical trials, but we just didn't see that. So I'm hopeful that, I'm wrong about that, and I don't, that there's some part of the process that I don't know about or understand, and that there will be higher doses, but I don't think there will be. And yeah, I agree. I mean, they want to charge more, but I believe that they can charge more even without changing the name. If it's coded for a different indication, I believe the prices can be different. So the big argument is they can extend the patent by a couple years, but my argument on that whole thing is that the iron is hot now to make money on Mounjaro, because there's going to be in-house competitors to Mounjaro in 10 years, right? Like strong competitors. Like think about Trulicity versus Mounjaro now. It's going to be even, I think, a greater chasm between those medications, and not to mention that there'll be that many more GLP-1s, dual agonists, triple agonists, co-agonists on the market from other competitors, right? Right now, it's just pretty much Wegovy and Saxenda from Novo Nordisk, and Novo Nordisk can't keep its act together, and we're going to get that to that a little bit later in the show. So that's what I got there. I'm going to catch up with the chat a little bit. Stacy, I'm glad that you're here. Vanessa, welcome to the stream. Good to have you. No news on the approvals. We need to get it loud for approvals other than weight loss and type 2 diabetes. I agree, Vanessa. I really agree with that. But that's all on Eli Lilly, right? How does one apply for the VP of marketing at Lilly? I don't know. That's a great question. Pavlos, welcome to the stream. I believe you are new here. I don't remember seeing your name in the chat before. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you joining us tonight. Thank you for commenting in the chat. Pavlos says, after your video about the trademarks that have been filed by Lilly, I did a research today too, and I found that a lot of names were trademarked by Lilly this year. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't do a super deep dive. So if Pavlos, if you got more, feel free to send them over to me at mounjaroman@gmail.com. Maybe we'll do another video. Maybe there's some better ones out there. I've heard a lot of things, like somebody's like, no, it's Impacto, and I'm Impacto. I'm quite certain that somebody probably already holds that trademark. So yeah, I mean, we can survive. We can do this all day, and I think it's fun. Like, that's why I do it. That's why I talk about it on my channel. But I think, what most people are interested in is the accessibility. And that gets to the heart of why I talk about this topic, because I don't think that it's wise for Eli Lilly to separate the brands, because I think it's going to create chaos when it comes to the supply chain. But they're obviously much smarter than me, so we'll just have to see how all this goes. But the core of my concern for people is just accessibility to it. Bring it out. Bring out a good coupon that people can get access to it, while insurers and employers get on board with asking, or with incorporating weight loss treatments into their insurance plans for their employees. Pizza says, hi, sorry about the photo. My son got a hold of my YouTube. It's Janelle. Wow. Janelle, that is disturbing. Pablo said, I also found that Mounjaro was filed as a trademark a few years ago before its launch. I also found that this year Lilly trademarked a lot of images with the letter E, so it's very possible it starts E. Very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, somebody had sent me, I think it was Matt. Matt sent me some trademark images too, and none of them were impressive. I thought Mounjaro was probably the best one of them all, the cleanest looking one. The other ones look old. They just look like dated, crappy logos. I had to send you a YouTube message because I was blocked. Pizza, you were blocked. What is your normal screen name? I don't know who would have blocked you, but I have had to unblock other people too, so I don't know what happens. It's not me blocking people. Although I take that back. There have been a couple trolls that I blocked. Any news on Retatrutide? No news on Retatrutide. I mean, the latest news that I've given out was that they're in phase 3 clinical trials. One of the interesting things for Retatrutide is that Retatrutide is in clinical trials for a host of things. Obesity, the obesity indication obviously is one of them, and that indication is farther along. YouTube blocked you. Okay. obesity and diabetes, but also sleep apnea, fatty, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So it's some really exciting things for Retatrutide. So we'll have to see. And there's usually at least one person in the chat between the channels that is in the Retatrutide trials. Nobody have I talked to yet that seems like they obviously have Retatrutide and not the placebo, though, which would suck. That'd be super disappointing to get on the Retatrutide trials and end up with the placebo. That would be such a bummer. Carrie said, do you think it's possible that the multi-use pen approval could be for the obesity branded drug? I don't actually. I mean, it could be. It could be. I think it's more likely that it'd be for the diabetic indication, because diabetics, I think, are kind of used to that if they've been on Ozempic or insulin. But I don't know. I mean, I think it's supply chain related, right? I mean, the vials and the adjustable pens are all about being able to foresee potential issues with the supply chain and kind of, be out ahead of potential issues with the pens, because you don't want the pen to be the only way you can get it out there and then have issues with the supply chain of the pen and then not be able to get the medication. So getting those presentations approved was a huge move by Eli Lilly. Just such a brilliant company they are. And they just make Novo Nordisk look like a bunch of idiots, to be honest with you. At least from managing the supply chain side of things. It's just astounding to me that Novo Nordisk could have such a wonderful medication like semaglutide, a life-changing medication. I mean, the information that's coming out about semaglutide right now as it relates to things like heart disease and people with very specific kinds of heart disease and the improvements in outcomes for patients with heart disease. I mean, this is a game-changing drug, and like, how have they not been out ahead of the demand of this and what they thought it would be? So, Creamy Jalapeno, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you here tonight. So, that's what I got on the rebranding. Thank you for those who have participated. Stacy says 2 studies still recruiting too. Yeah, and actually, Stacy, that's great that you brought that up, because if you are interested in getting into a clinical trial for Tirzepatide or Retatrutide, either one of those, in the description of every one of my videos over here on YouTube, you can scroll all the way down and I link to the exact place on the website for the FDA that shows you the trials that are recruiting for both Retatrutide and Tirzepatide. So check them out. Check them out. KT Nicole, how are you tonight? Good to have you here. Thank you for joining. Yeah, I don't know who Vanessa's responding to, but an excellent point that makes sure that if you are on these medications, that you are under the close care and supervision of a trusted medical professional. Absolutely. So let's keep going here because there's more to talk about. So we just were talking about some of the amazing things that they're discovering about these GLP-1 treatments that far exceeds, just diabetes and weight loss. Let's talk about some information that came out this week. There was a systematic review and meta-analysis of the antidepressant effects of GLP-1 agonists that was published in the American Journal of Geriatric Psychiatry. And this is amazing information. And I believe I linked this in the description of this video. If I did not, no fear. I'll go back after the show is over and I'll drop that link in there. But there is basically what they found in this trial from a real high level. And maybe in a later video, we'll go and do a deep dive into the information, is that they found that GLP-1 receptor agonists were associated with a significant reduction in depression scores compared to placebo. So that's absolutely massive. And also it smacks in the face of the fear-mongering coming out of Europe, primarily with folks who have claimed that semaglutide made their mental health deteriorate. Obviously we've talked about that a little bit on this channel. It's a sensitive topic. We don't need to belabor it, but what the actual data is showing is the absolute opposite of what, is coming out of the European Union as it relates to the information about semaglutide and mental health and GLP-1 receptor agonists in general, because I think when you hear news about these medications, I think, they're all acting on the GLP-1 receptors, right? Or in Mounjaro's case, it's also acting on the GIP receptor. The Retatrutide molecule will be acting on a third, which would be the glucagon receptor, all incretin hormones that are made in your body, responsible for satiety, feeling full in your brain, delaying gastric emptying, reducing the amount of sugar that your liver makes, and stimulating your pancreas to make more insulin when you need it. So all these are incretin therapies, right? And so they're all in the same class. So when you hear good news about one, I think it's pretty safe to extrapolate that data out to the others and just say it's good news for the entire class of medications. And I think that becomes a little dicier as they start to come out with small molecule versions of GLP-1 receptor agonists like orforglipron, which is not a peptide. But all the medications that we are talking about right now are all peptides, polypeptides, long-chain amino acids, liraglutide, semaglutide, duraglutide, tirzepatide, all the utides, right? And these are all peptides, polypeptides that act on the receptor agonist for GLP-1, right? So I think this is really great news, more really great news that kind of dovetails on the excellent news that we heard about GLP-1 and specifically semaglutide and heart health. It's just amazing what these medications are doing. And it's amazing to be out at the forefront of it with all of you. To be on these medications is an absolute gift. That's why a lot of times in the lives when people are talking about the fact that they are potentially slower losers slower weight loss losers or slower responders to GLP-1s than maybe their peers on the internet, that can be a really hard thing for people to deal with. I am one of them. But what I have to remind myself of sometimes, not all the time, but generally I'm a pretty positive person with a positive outlook. But the absolute gift that it is to be on these medications and to be able to have access to them, just to have access to them and the wonders that they're doing for us metabolically. But now we're learning about all the other benefits of being on them. If you are thankful for being on the pen, please put it in the chat and let me know. I would love to hear what other people are doing to kind of stay positive, especially if you are struggling maybe with a little bit slower weight loss. Anna, good to have you here. Welcome tonight. Good to have you. So that's what we got for the What's Fresh this week. What do we think? What are our thoughts? Sound off in the chat. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. Hopefully that's exciting news for you all to hear that, there is more hope coming out of these GLP-1 studies as it relates to mental health. So awesome. Folly Beach Vibes, welcome. Thank you for being here. Folly Beach Vibes, did you change your screen name? I don't recognize that name, and I would because I am familiar with Folly Beach, having family out in Charleston. All up in the comments, thank you for being here. Beauty by Susan, thank you for being here. Beauty by Susan, are you from TikTok? Did you come over here from TikTok? If you are a TikTokian, let me know in the chat. It's good to have those of you. Thank you so much, especially to those of you who have made the venture over from TikTok. I spend a lot of time in my lives over there, and I do a lot of lives over there. I spend a lot of times inviting people to come over to On the Pen Live. Ha, I thought so. And I recognized you. I spend a lot of time encouraging people to come over here because this is exclusive to YouTube. I also stream it to X and sometimes to Facebook as well, but nobody's over there. So yeah, thank you for those who have come over from TikTok and joined over here. And some of you have even become members of the channel and chosen to give back that way. So thank you for that. So a special welcome to those who are from TikTok. Please let your TikTok friends know about this show when you come into the lives over there on TikTok. So we're going to get into the next segment of the show. But before we do, this one is brought to you in part by our friends at the Plus Sides podcast. And we've got a little message from them tonight that we are going to share. So sit back and enjoy this little blurb about our friends over at the Plus Sides.
Are you interested in understanding GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, or Mounjaro? Then join us on the Plus Sides, Cracking the Obesity Code, the groundbreaking podcast helping people change their lives one episode at a time. The Plus Sides Podcast is a disruptor. We're breaking down barriers, smashing stereotypes, and sharing inspiring stories that'll leave you feeling informed and empowered. Join us every week to learn from doctors who are specialists around GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, or Mounjaro. They'll provide you with science and facts to validate these incredible stories. But that's not all. We'll also bring you the voices of the GLP-1 Mounjaro TikTok community, real people who face the challenges of obesity-related diseases and disorders and discovered the incredible plus sides of GLP-1 medications. Our episodes are filled with heartwarming stories, laughter, and moments of triumph. You'll connect with our amazing community members who are reclaiming their health and experiencing their fullest lives. Are you ready to embark on a journey of discovery and empowerment? Tune in to the Plus Sides, Cracking the Obesity Code, and together we'll change the narrative around obesity and end the stigma. Subscribe now on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform and join our incredible community. Let's celebrate the plus sides of life together. The Plus Sides Podcast, because every story deserves to be heard, every life deserves to shine, and everyone deserves access to expert knowledge and medication. The Plus Sides Podcast. You're not alone. It's not your fault. Are you interested?
Awesome little promo from Kim over at the Plus Sides, and also our very own the Janine, who has been part of this channel since she started Mounjaro back in January, and she's part of the Plus Sides podcast. Those women are great over there. They're doing such awesome things over there, and they become great friends of me. They support me on the Mounjaro over there on their lives. I support them over here on my lives because it's just such a great community, and they are doing great things. They've introduced me to great people. So make sure that you give them a like and a follow, and they are on all the things. So you can find them everywhere at the Plus Sides with the Z. So check them out. Hey, if you haven't already, hit that like button. Hit that like button and let YouTube know that this chat and this live stream is zappity. Let them know. All right. So we're going to get into our next segment. If you know what that segment is, you've been around with the show for a while, let them know with the custom emojis in the chat. Felicia, is it Felicia or Felicia? Hi, Felicia. Good to have you here. I see that Carla is struggling on Ozempic. I'm sorry. And Carla, you've had a journey losing access to Mounjaro, and you're one of the people that I feel for. And I so thank you for sticking with us. And I so hope that you'll get back to it at some point. But you were spot on with the next segment. Cheryl, I think your favorite emoji is Dave's an odd duck. But yes, absolutely. The next segment is our fake news segment, taking out the trash. That's what I do on Thursdays is I take out the trash on the Pen Live. We talk about bogus news, crappy information that's floating around about GLP-1s. And then when I'm done with the stream, I actually take the trash out to the curb. It's my reminder every week that it's garbage night. So we're going to get into the next segment, which is Take Out the Trash Thursday. Sue's Happy Fun Time Pharmacy. I still love that. I love that we have like inside jokes with this channel. It means we've been doing this a long time, right? So thank you for being here. We got 80 members in the stream tonight. So if every one of you could hit that like button, I would greatly appreciate it. Share it somewhere with somebody who might find it entertaining or informative. We call this channel, I thought I coined a new word. I came up with it in my head and then I realized it's already been a word, but edutainment. This channel is meant to be edutainment. I hope that you learn here, but I hope that you're also entertained here. I'm entertained by you and I learn from you, and I hope that you enjoy the same benefits from being here as well. And so, yeah, that's my little plug, Mounjaro edutainment, GLP-1 edutainment. But we're going to talk a little bit about something that was in the news this week that I think is just absolutely crazy, right? So it was announced this week that Wegovy launched in Germany, right? And, you know, there's been talk about how much less they pay over there for the medication, and it's a fraction of what we pay over here. But what I can't get over is how can a company that cannot keep up with demand in its current markets justify getting a bunch of people started on a medication over there that they're not going to be able to keep going on that medication. Now, these GLP-1 medications are great, but this yo-yo crap that everybody's having to do because of a lack of accessibility to the different doses is not ideal. It's not ideal to be going from skipping around from dose to dose or skipping doses because you can't get access to one. That's not good. That's not the way that these drugs were intended from the manufacturer's recommendation. And now we're launching in new markets when we can't even keep up with the current markets that we're trying to serve. So that to me is the real rub here, is like how can they justify, friends over here that can't get access to it, but we're going to launch in new markets overseas. It just makes absolutely no sense. And it's one more reason why I'm so thankful for companies like Eli Lilly. And, trust me, I'm not paid by Eli Lilly. They have no association with me. I have no association with them. I just appreciate a company that has their act together. They've got multiple facilities coming online, a couple are coming online this year to expand capacity. That capacity expansion is going right along with their track to get the weight loss approval indication from the FDA. They're bringing these manufacturing facilities on line by line. They've been out ahead of the potential shortages by getting different presentations of the medication approved by the FDA in the forms of the adjustable pens, in the forms of the of self-administered vials, single-dose vials. So they're getting out ahead of about everything they can be, because they understand that a medication that helps people lose up to 22% of their body weight is going to be an absolutely game-changing medicine for the world, right? But they want to get it right here first, and I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful that they've got two plants coming on in North Carolina. They've got another plant coming online in Indianapolis. They've got another plant coming along overseas, I believe in Denmark. I mean, they are on it. And I am just so thankful. And it makes me wonder, how can a company like Novo Nordisk, who came out with the blockbusters Wegovy, the blockbusters of Saxenda and Victoza over 10 years ago, around 10 years ago, they had to know what semaglutide was going to do. And how were they not out ahead of this? And how can they justify launching in new markets? To me, this is garbage. And that's why this is our Take Out the Trash for this week. Because I'm ticked. I'm ticked off. It just, not only for our friends over here in the United States, but our friends over in Germany who are going to get on Wegovy, and then they're not going to be able to get the doses that they need either. Like, how does this make sense? Because I'm sure that the rollout there is going to be every bit the poo show as it has been over here, right? So that is that's this week's segment for Take Out the Trash. Now, if you were with us last week, you got to be part of the newest segment on this show, right? And so we're bringing it back this week because you all told me in the chat that you wanted me to bring it back this week. So we're bringing it back this week. I want to know in the chat, who grew up on Carson? Did anybody, I've got, hey, Matt is in the chat. Matt, I always love you when you join in the chat because your little M looks like an M&M. And I shouted you out early for sharing information on the trademarks with me. Matt is one of those guys. Sue the Dude is one of those guys who's always sending me information to make sure that I'm staying on top of everything. Yeah. Creamy. Yes, absolutely. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Novo Nordisk for developing semaglutide, bringing it to market. I don't love how much they've fumbled this rollout and how much that's impacted the whole supply chain, that they can't keep up with their stuff. Because it screws up Mounjaro too. I mean, you have people bouncing back and forth between the medications. It's just a mess. So anyway, several people mentioning in the chat that they stayed up late for Carson. And so you're staying up late with me tonight because we've got this new segment of the show that we're going to get into here. And it's based off of a segment that you may remember from back in the day that Carson used to do. Of course, I'm not going to do it as good as Carson, but it's a fun way to talk. What I found is it's a fun way to talk about side effects, because every week I'm hearing from people in all the lives, because I'll do several lives per week, especially over on TikTok, where we talk about the side effects that we're dealing with. And so I decided to bring the one that I hear the most per week into this little segment that we call Incretin the Magnificent.
YouTube's favorite pretendocrinologist, Incretin the Magnificent.
Hi, Incretin the Magnificent, back for round 2. How do you like my hat? I think we gotta improve upon this hat. Chrissy's got to help me make this a little bit more true to it. Right now, it's puffed up with diapers and these little poofs it's a Dollar Tree. It's brought to you in part by the Dollar Tree, this segment. So I've got about $3.75 into this hat, if you don't count the diapers that are giving me the poof, the extra poof. But Incretin the Magnificent is your favorite internet pretendocrinologist. And every week, I'm presented this letter, this hermetically sealed letter that was kept in a jar of mayonnaise in the dash of my car for the week. And it's very mayonnaisey. But basically what we've got here is our take on Karnak the Magnificent. So if you remember watching Karnak the Magnificent, let me know in the chat. But this week's side effect, what do we have? All right, so we've got Charlie Sheen's brain after a week-long bender. Charlie Sheen's brain after a week-long bender, a la 2005. Presumably he's cleaned his life up by now. All right. Gonna get the cape right. All right, so Charlie Sheen's brain after a week-long bender. Nausea. Nausea is our side effect of the week. So this is your chance to sound off. Chatty, chatty, chat, chat. Winning is right. So if your stomach feels like a torpedo of truth tour, that is not winning. Not winning. So in the chat, what are your ways of dealing with nausea? I know you've dealt with it. How are you dealing with nausea? Clark Kent says Tums. Tums is how Clark Kent. That's something that I use a lot. Chewy, of course. Chewy Tums. What are some of the other ways? Has anybody come up with ways that they've dealt with nausea? Abby says Pepto. Pepto. Now, this is a really weird one that I hear about all the time. So thank you for sharing, Deliza. Sniffing alcohol pads. Very interesting. Who would have thought? Folly Beach has not had any nausea, so good for you, Folly. Water and ginger chews, which kind of goes along the lines with Vanessa and Karen's, who said ginger and then ginger ale. Donna says, thank you for being here, Donna. It's good to have you here. Zofran and eating a little. Awesome. Warm and hot tea. That's awesome. Peppermint candy or tea. We're getting a lot of feedback tonight. So if you are dealing with nausea, sucking on lemons, that's an interesting one. Ginger mints and candy. That's awesome. Creamy hasn't had it bad enough to work. Cheryl says Dave sniffs diapers. Appreciate that, Cheryl. Cheryl's an odd duck. Phenergrin. Awesome. Here's a good one from Chrissy. Protein and don't overeat or don't get empty. Small meals. Alcohol pads are used in surgery. Also Zofran. Avoid eating fatty foods, especially fried ones. Okay, that's a good one. I'm not going to do it, but it's a good one. Awesome. Awesome. Sounds like we got a lot of people who've experienced nausea. A lot of people experiencing what it must have felt like to have been Charlie Sheen's brain in 2003. And yeah. So thank you. Thank you for joining Incretin the Magnificent for another installment this week. If you enjoy this particular part of the show, please let me know in the chat if you'd like us to bring it back next week. Eventually, we may retire this one, but I mean, I'd really hate to give up this Karnak hat. So we bid you adieu, Incretin the Magnificent.
YouTube's favorite pretendocrinologist, Incretin the Magnificent.
So thank you to Cretan the Magnificent for joining us tonight. If you enjoyed that, let me know in the chat. Appreciate y'all giving some answers to those who have dealt with the side effect of nausea. That one's a real one. That one I hear a lot of. Carla says they use alcohol and alcohol pads, and they use them in labor a lot. Jennifer, Nebraska, this is so stupid. I love this segment. It's a keeper. Awesome. I agree. I totally agree. All right. Well, that's Karnak the Magnificent. So that's what we got for most of the show tonight. I'm going to live in the chat for a little bit until Christy's ready to come into the stream. Let me know. Let me know what you think about the show. Are y'all enjoying the show? I know the last couple of shows have been a little bit different because I haven't had guests on, but I think that's okay to do from time to time. I really do enjoy having people from the community, and I love having doctors on. I would say kind of the dizziness kind of goes a little bit with, I would lump that in with nausea. When I feel nauseous, it's kind of like the world is spinning, and that is kind of what makes my stomach feel upset. So I'd say that most of those things probably help with that. I think another one that nobody really mentioned was electrolytes. I think electrolytes can sometimes cause you to feel off, right? Which can sometimes be interpreted as nausea. And I think that a lot of times for a lot of people, when they're losing really fast, that, they could be low on electrolytes. So I think, if you want to go to onthepen.com, onthepen.com is my website, and you can go to shop. It's going to take you to my Amazon shop, where I have links to all the products for all the things that we talk about on this channel. And so yeah, I've tried to find the ones that I think work the best and put them in there. So it's onthepen.com, and you can click shop. Another reminder before we bring Chrissy into the stream to make sure that you hit that like button and share this somewhere where people might find it interesting. We're getting some good response in the chat here. Little Chi thinks I should be on TV. I am. It's just called YouTube. Some people watch it on their TV. Yelly said you should be in bed where you're at. Folly Beach has dizziness. Yeah, I think, again, that dizziness. And Donna is in the stream. She's a nurse practitioner. Donna, wouldn't you say that, a lot of times dizziness and nausea kind of go together? Would you say, Donna, if you're still here, that you think that some of these remedies that we've talked about in the stream tonight might work for dizziness as well? All up in the comments says, yes, bring it back. AC loves the show with the guests and folks from the community. You're a natural host, and I learn a lot. Awesome. Yeah. Donna says, absolutely. So she thinks that some of the things that we've talked about tonight, Donna, thank you for sharing your expertise with us. Always appreciate you, my friend. Yeah. So I really, really, really appreciate when you contribute to the channel. But so yeah, sounds like we're enjoying the show. I do plan. Did I go over? Have I told y'all who the lineup is for the next few weeks? We've got really, really exciting guests coming on in the next few weeks. So shout out in the chat if you know who any of these people are. Okay, let me know, and let me know what you think of them. Keisha Dixon is a awesome creator over on YouTube. I've got to know her. I didn't get to know her over on YouTube. I got to know her over on TikTok. She's got a great account both on YouTube and TikTok. Give her a follow. I think she's freaking hilarious. So Keisha's going to come on the show. The plan is tentatively for next week, but I don't want to hold anybody to any of these dates, but I'll just say coming up, we've got Keisha Dixon. So I'm excited to have her. We've got Dr. Daniel Rosen, who is a bariatric surgeon in the New York City area. And I think that's going to be a really awesome interview. He's got a great personality, and he just loves the community, has such a passion for what he does. So Dr. Daniel Rosen will be coming on. He's committed to coming on the channel. And then Lee Fits In from TikTok, who was recently featured on Oprah, and who has been on a couple of the talk shows. I think maybe the Today Show or the CBS version of the Today Show. He's awesome too. So we've got some really awesome, fun people coming on in the next few weeks, and I'm super, super excited for that. If you are excited for those, let me know in the chat as well. Yelly, thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate those of you. I know this is really late for a lot of people. And so I thank you for those who are over on the East Coast, especially who stick with me. This is the time of night I can do it as a father of 4 little kids. It's just got to be later here. So I apologize. I do it at, it's not obviously the optimal time, but it's the time we can do it. And so I thank everyone who joins. Donna has been a channel member for 6 months. Thank you so much, Donna, for being a member of the channel. Again, you members of the channel are the ones that make this whole thing go. I couldn't do this if it wasn't for you. Holy smokes, Donna, you've got to be kidding me. Thank you so much for the super chat. That is so kind of you. So kind and so generous. You, and I think I forgot to mention this in the chat, but the biggest super chat of the night always gets to pick where I inject my medication. So thank you so much for that, Donna. And thank you for being a member of the channel. It is so kind of you. And you've been so generous with your words, with your encouragement, with the super chats, and one of the longest members of the channel. And I'm so grateful that you're here. I'm so grateful we figured out why you couldn't be here for the longest time. I still don't know what kind of happened there. So thank you for that. And Abby with the super chat, she's going to bed. Abby, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate that. I'm glad you have enjoyed the show. Thank you for all the support that you've given me as well. Abby, another shout out to somebody who's been with me for a very long time. 31st episode of the show tonight. And I got to tell you, I can't believe we're on episode 35, and some of you have been there since the beginning or since very close to the beginning. Abby is one of those. And so thank you for being here with me and, just being a great part of the channel. Thank you for modding for me as well, both over here and on TikTok. Thank you for that. Anna says, love the show, Dave. Thank you. I appreciate that. Themby said, you're also reminding me why I don't want kids past my bedtime, but I can do what I want because I don't have the responsibility to anybody but myself. Themby, I can tell you that without my children, my life would be very bitter tasting. Of course, I know the joy of having my own children. So though they mean, a tremendous amount of work and sacrifice, they are my and my wife's world. So Sue remembers my first show from 1994. Good times. That's awesome. Yeah. Terrence. Yep. Kids aren't for everybody. They aren't, but they are for us. And we certainly love them. I have such great kids, and they're such sweet little encouragers of me doing this show. They know about my type 2 diabetes. They know about this journey, and they of course know about the YouTube channel. And they're like, I hope your people are nice tonight. I hope a lot of people watch your show tonight. I hope lots of people become members tonight. Like, they just know all the things that I talk about. And so they're just so sweet. And yeah, for sure. So they are a joy. The joy. Yeah. Hey, Themby, nieces and nephews are nice because nieces and nephews get to go back home when they start talking back. Right. That's awesome. Jennifer says the best part of our kids are the grandkids. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm sure that my mom and my wife's parents would say the same. So absolutely. Yeah, we like to get a little sentimental on the show sometimes. But tonight, really excited to be able to bring Chrissy back into the stream and talk a little bit about her journey. Now, for those of you who don't know, Chrissy is my cousin, and she is so awesome. If you haven't met her tonight, met her before, you're gonna meet her tonight. Donna says if she's the top dog, she says inject in the abdomen. Unfortunately, I have to jet. Love to you all. It's a journey, and we're all in it together. Thank you for saying that, Donna. Thank you again for the super chat. That was so kind of you. I appreciate that. So thank you, Donna, for being here. It's a joy to have you in the chat every time that you're here. So thank you. But yeah, Chrissy has been sharing her story as Girl on the Wegovy. She's on Wegovy. So she comes out and shares a little bit about her journey with Wegovy. And without further ado, we're going to bring her into the chat. She's even got her own bumper. You know you're important when you have your own bumper. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? I'm trying to get on my computer, and you are the best at stalling.
When I see your screen down there looking like the Blair Witch Project, I just assume that you're not ready.
I had to put Nora to bed. She got a few extra minutes. Right. That was up and down the stairs, working with the epoxy before it like hardens up, trying to get everything. Oh, it's fine. I'll sand it down later. Just Dave is just, I'm like, every word is like, hurry up.
I got you. And the chat's got you. The chat's they always got stuff to say. So there's always stuff to interact with.
I'm trying to get on my computer so I can watch the chat. So I got to make sure I mute it because then it's like, hello, 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 hello. I've not stopped moving all day. Yeah, it's just been a crazy, crazy day.
Yeah.
But I made it. I'm glad that I get up. I subscribe and hit the bell because it tells me when you go live, and then I go, it's Thursday.
I missed Dave's email.
I know. And then I was like, oh, I have 135 emails. And I last checked my email at like 3. How does this happen?
10 of them were for me. So every week before I do the show, I send out show notes to all of our moderators and guests. And just to kind of give them an idea of what's going to happen. And every week I put Chrissy with a question mark. Because during the summer, you've been playing a lot of like sand volleyball.
I did do
Thursdays.
That. Oh.
You did that tonight too?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And work tonight?
Work. And then most importantly, I had to go to Menards for some mums.
Oh,
mums.
Does Menards have good mums?
No. Menards dries out every place.
They got bums.
Their price was right and I can revive them.
There you go.
And I'm very picky about my moms, but this is reminding me of a very cheesy group text I sent to your mom and my mom one day. I was like, they're selling moms.
I'm sure that the chat would love to hear about our texts with our mothers about our floral. I like your hair.
It's red.
It's a new color.
It's my fall.
Looks like maroonish.
Also, I got to figure out which. Dun, dun, dun.
Did you change it?
Fall, y'all. I had to get it.
So she got rid of the. I think you have to be off the show now.
I'm sorry.
What'd the girls say?
You anyway. Remember, it was Mom on the Moon. So
right.
Nora's favorite necklace is a spaceman. If she ever decides she doesn't want it anymore, it's all yours.
There you go. There you go. Maybe she would be a nice beneficiary of the lady on the moon.
What?
I got to keep the man on the moon.
I've tried to get a t-shirt and it goes out of stock before I check out.
What t-shirt?
A t-shirt that has the spaceman on it. Twice I've tried to get it for you because it's like $5. Because if you let stuff sit in your cart long enough, they'll like give you.
Oh yeah, those are the tricks.
Like it needs to be cheaper.
That's hilarious. So tell us about your Govian. How's it going with Wegovy?
It's pumpkin spice. I love it. Sorry, I got my computer going, but never actually looked at the chat.
Pumpkin spice Wegovy.
That's what you said. I was moldy cow for a second. Sorry, guys. That's Nora's page. Anyway, it's going well. I actually screenshotted and sent to my mother-in-law about the section in your email that was talking about the antidepressant, which I have personally talked about. Me and who was it that talked about it? What's her name? She said, let's do a live. And I haven't done it ever. So on TikTok.
Another creator. YouTube?
Yeah. It was like the last time I was even on, I think the last guest.
Last guest that was on?
Who it was?
The Lisa with the telehealth company?
No, sorry, it wasn't her. It was
it Kim from the Plus Sides?
Names. Yes, I think it was.
Yeah, Kim's awesome. You two would be great on the live together.
Yeah.
For sure.
Anyway, somebody
Pumpkin spice Wegovy. Stay on topic.
At work was like, are you losing weight? And I was like, no pounds. She's like, but you're definitely shrinking. And I was like, thanks. But I also don't have my jacket on, so you can actually see my waist. But my clothes are fitting better even. And I'm like, how is this happening? Like 2 pounds. 2 pounds is like a size. I don't know. It was weird, but it's good. It's good. I'm happy.
So you're down 2 more pounds since last time? Is that what you're saying?
I think. Was I still hovering right at the 25 and now I'm at 27, which is still, it's like under 27 or 28. I don't know. I suck at this. And then I forget to weigh myself.
Yeah. I know I'm kind of in that mode where I don't weigh myself because I mean, I was a slave to the scale for 20 years, right? And I tell people on every live, they're like, well, what do you do for diet and what do you do for exercise? I'm like, I just do things that I enjoy, like, and I try to do them in a way that I can sustain for the rest of my life and not be extreme because I was extreme my whole life. So if it comes off an ounce a week, eventually I'll get there,
The point where like, if I have energy and I am not depressed and also not angry, because like that's a thing, like usually when I eat too many carbs, like the stress and everybody's like, we have a monster in the house. And if I just am not gaining, like it's a win. It's a win. But yep, there it went. I could watch it go. My thought.
That's me.
Oh, but the antidepressant factor, like seriously, because I mean, like I said, when I was originally not with my provider getting the Wegovy, and then I ended up changing to my provider because it was a huge miscommunication that she wouldn't prescribe it, which wasn't the case. She said, I'll do your refills if you want me to. So the opportunity presented itself that would be the more fiscally responsible thing to do.
Sure.
So especially, got to pay my student loans again.
Yeah.
I get that never did. Anyway, so she saw me that first time I butted in with Nick's appointment, and she said, Wegovy looks good on you. She's like, you're happy, you're smiling, you're glowing. And I was like, I know, and I'm still fat. Like, it's amazing. I know. But I'm not saying that like, oh, I'm so fat. I'm just like, I'm never gonna be skinny, and I don't want to be skinny anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I played volleyball, 3 games of volleyball tonight. And then I got home, went in to see what Nora was doing. And she was like, I'm hanging the constellations in glow stars on my ceiling. And then I just like didn't miss a beat. And I'm hanging glow stars and then in Gemini and Aries and Virgo. It's very tricky, by the way. She's such a cute kid.
That's awesome.
And then I'm downstairs throwing epoxy together because I need to make more badge reels because my friend is an amazing person and sold like all of them today. And here I am, like I have not had dinner, but I did stop at the Quick Start for some gas in the convertible because this is my favorite season where it's like nice out but not hot, so I can actually drive it. And I got some cheese, so I got some protein in and stuff, but I mean, I was talking to my ladies today and they were like, oh, what do you do when you're behind on 3 fuelings and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I can't even utter the word fueling right now. Like, it was a great plan. It works great. It destroyed my willpower. It amped up my binge eating and made me suffocate, after a long period of time. But I just can't even think about that anymore. And I'm more focused on, I want the things I want, but like I'm eating amazingly smaller portions.
That's the gift of the appetite suppression is you're not thinking about it. Like even when I'm busy, I've always found a way to eat, but the just turning down the volume of the, what am I going to eat next is such a gift. And I think like the thing with extreme diets, like, what you were on, or even keto, or, any of the things that pull major macronutrients out of the equation, I think the danger with being on them often on them, like the way that I was, where I would gain 30 pounds in a year and then I would gain back, or I would lose 30 pounds in a year and I would gain back 45, lose 30 pounds, gain back 45. And I did that for 20 years of my life. I think the thing that tends to happen when you do those is that you restrict, and it's in some form, it feels like a punishment. I enjoy French fries. Now, can I eat French fries every day? No. But when you're on those restrictive diets, you start to look at those at those, different foods that include those other macronutrients as being a moral decision, and that imbibing in them is a moral failure. And we've talked about that a lot on this channel. And I think that just feeds the part of you that wants to be, extreme, like extreme one way or extreme the other way. And then you do find yourself in the drive-thru every day getting French fries because you found yourself for 6 months avoiding it and thinking about it constantly. I mean, it's just such a vicious cycle. And so I know, like for me, I just keep preaching to people, like, if you struggle with obesity, the best diet is the one that you can sustain for your whole life. And there's no book about that. There's no book for that. Like, here's the regimen. It's like, what works for you? What can you eat? How much can you eat of it to maintain the weight that you need to be at your optimal health, right? And that's a 360-degree view of health. That's not just your metabolic health. It's not just your weight. It's not just your cardiac health. It's your mental health too. And all of these things work together to create, the ideal version of you. But none of us are perfectly healthy. Even those who strive to be, the creme de la creme of healthy still die randomly of heart attacks. I mean, life is about living it and not just beating yourself up month after month from basically just getting beaten down by the diet culture. So.
And that's kind of like, I love those ladies, and I never am one, like, I very, very just danced around, like, that's all the comment I made, I was like, you guys are doing great. I just can't even utter that word right now. Like, it gives me anxiety thinking about it. But I see that same cycle in them, and I love it. But I'm like, don't you guys want more, like, to constantly, like, fall off this wagon, then go back on this wagon? Like, this obviously is not the answer. I know that it works, but clearly it's situational. Mm-hmm. It's not life sustaining, and I'm over that. And I aspire to be one of those people that is super annoying. We've all heard them. You're like, oh my gosh, you look great. What are you doing? What's the answer? I'm just eating less. Like, that's my goal. That's who I want to be. I just want to eat normal portions.
Yeah. Like, and a lot of times people want to know because they see the transformation. They're like, I want to copy that. And that's where we all get it twisted up. Like, you don't see long-term success by copying what the person next to you did to lose weight. It might work for a long time, but, like, trust me, I have 20 years of developing and feeding my obesity through that kind of mentality to tell you it's not how you do it. So the gift of GLP-1s, the gift of Mounjaro, Wegovy, Ozempic, Saxenda, Victoza, Trulicity, the gift of them is, as I've said 100 times on this channel, it's eating normal food, feeling normal full, right? Those are the big gifts that these medications give. And for a lot of people, there's extremes. It's a spectrum. Like, some people say it completely shuts the food noise off. They can't think about eating or drinking. That's not me. But then you have people on the other end who are like, they don't think they've taken anything. And I'm somewhere, towards, probably towards the person who says they don't feel much, but, like, I'm diabetic. So it's controlling my A1C. It's helping me regain metabolic health. It's helping me control my sugars, and I do eat less. I do eat less. And I experienced that when I titrated down to the 5 milligram, having been on the 15. When I went to the 5, my weight jumped up in a month. So it's doing something for me. I think, I'm glad that you're fine. You're hitting a stride with it. I'm glad that you're not getting hung up on the weight loss. There's so many people that come into my lives and they're just frustrated that they've, some people be like, I've only lost 27 pounds in 5 months. I'm like, 27 pounds in 5 months?
I said that the other day. I got corrected instantly. And I was like, I know. I don't mean only. I just mean comparatively to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I was prefacing it by saying, I've only lost 27 pounds.
Yeah.
But didn't get to the but. Like, I feel great. Like, I still am 27 pounds lighter. And
yeah, so would you characterize anything you've done with your diet or your exercise on Wegovy? Would you characterize any of it as extreme lifestyle modifications?
No.
Yeah. So that's the gift, right? Because tell me, how many times in your life you have been able to achieve any amount of weight loss without extreme lifestyle modifications, and then been able to be, you're a solid 6 months out from starting Wegovy now, right?
Oh yeah.
6, 8 months.
Started in January, so
10
hitting months here soon.
Yeah. So 8 months, and you can say as an adult that, as an adult who's battled obesity, that you've lost almost 30 pounds without any extreme lifestyle modifications, and you haven't gained 45 back.
Less than I did September 7th last year. That was my only goal. I just want to go backwards. It doesn't need to be 100 pounds right now, because how many times do we need to learn that if it comes off fast, it's going to go back on fast?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people who have taken these GLP-1s, who have seen those extreme benefits and maybe approached it with the diet culture mentality of this is going to be a quick fix, and they've seen that, and then they want to jump right off the medication when they lose their weight, like this was just, every other diet that they've tried, and they're so missing the mark on the fact that the medication is one aspect to a 360-degree problem that includes your mind, your body, and your spirit. And so I think that some of these people that think that they're going to get off these and then it's just they're going to keep the weight off, like, no, you don't understand. Obesity is a chronic disease. Chronic diseases require chronic treatment. And if you are on a medication for a chronic disease and you stop taking that medication for your chronic disease, you lose the benefit of that medication, right?
So I had that conversation with someone who is struggling too with extreme diet modification, was on Profile.
Yep. I was on my first couple videos on YouTube are from when I was on Profile.
Right. So I'm talking to her, and I kind of was like, here's something that, because she watched me mix up the Metamucil, and she's like, what are you doing there, kid? And I'm like, she's like,
trying to stay regular.
Badly. And I was like, it's just fiber. This is not Miralax. It's not. And Miralax, one glass isn't going to do that anyway, unless you're like kind of teetering on that direction anyway. I had I don't know how she does that every day. Anywho, that's not appropriate. I was like, here's something simple you can do now. High carb meal equals, you can take this up to 3 times a day, blah, blah, blah. I didn't even know it was marketed this way until my cousin threw me at this. I'm constantly plugging your show, and I'm like, you really need to investigate a GLP-1. She hasn't been a larger her whole life. She's always been very tiny. Would not reveal her age, but I'm guessing at least my age, maybe a little older. I'm not even sure. She's clearly aged well, whatever age she is. But I'm telling her, I'm like, you could be becoming insulin resistant. You could, all of these factors. She's suspicious of PCOS, all this stuff. And I'm like, this is what I am saying to you. She's like, but when you go off it, you're going to gain your weight. I said, you went off Profile. What did you do? You stop doing anything and you are going to gain your weight back. I'm sick of people saying, well, it doesn't really work because once you stop, you gain your weight back. Right. Once I stop quitting sugar, I gain my weight back. I mean, any diet modification you make that you quit, you're going to have the opposite results. Right. And I hate that. But the mental health with I forwarded that to 2 people. from your email, because one is my father-in-law, and he really struggles, and the older he gets, the more he struggles. And his dad died of, they say, a heart disease, but I think we talked about this once before. It was the diabetes that caused the heart disease.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very sensitive to that, and Nick was about to the 2-week point, where he was supposed to have the 0.5 or whatever, and had gone without, and they had accidentally sent the 1. And I was like, Nick, just take the 1. You're not going to die. Just take the 1. And then one day, like, he was like, no, doctor told me not to. And then he goes, I see him getting in the fridge. And then all of a sudden he's like poking himself. I'm like, haha. It was like 2 days to the 2-week mark. And I'm like, all right. I was like, because you might as well stop getting the 0.5 and get another prescription for the 0.25 at this point.
Yeah, this is part of my frustration, kind of what I was getting at earlier with the shortages of Wegovy, is like the yo-yoing on the. I mean, I did it all the way up as I titrated through Mounjaro. I blew through all the doses, and there's several that I didn't do because you couldn't get them. And so like GLP-1s are great, but they're great when they're taken as prescribed by your doctor, which is typically going to be the guidance of the manufacturer, and they're not providing an environment where people can take them per their own guidance, because they can't keep up with supply. And so that's what makes Novo Nordisk launching Wegovy in Germany all the more asinine. I mean, it's crazy. But yeah. The underlying takeaway for people, from this conversation is that obesity is a chronic disease. It's a chronic disease, and it requires long-term chronic treatment. And if you stop treatment for any chronic disease, right? Just think about if you're diabetic, right? And you're on insulin. You stop taking insulin. What happens? Your blood sugars shoot up. Why? Because you take away the medication that you're taking to chronically treat your illness, right? Just think about statins. Think about, whatever it is that you're treating chronically, rheumatoid arthritis. You're taking biologics to keep down the rheumatoid arthritis at bay. You stop the biologics. Guess what happens? Inflammation creeps up. Rheumatoid arthritis takes back over, right? The same thing is true with obesity. And people, even obese people, still, and even doctors, still don't want to acknowledge what medical science is proving, and that is that this is a chronic disease. It's a disease that happens, in your gut, in your brain, metabolically. Like, there are things that need to be addressed biologically for people to be able to overcome the medication. Now, can some people, beat the odds? Of course, there's some people that reverse lots of chronic diseases randomly, but is it the norm? No, it's not. Most people are going to require these medications long term to achieve long.
Up at work, because I'm in surgical services, so one of my supervisors was saying how they might start requiring people to stop a GLP-1 for 2 weeks prior to surgery. And I said, oh no, we need some education on this. So if you have a diabetic, stop it for 2 weeks. Okay, they're still diabetic. Boom, whatever. Like, they've got other things in place usually. But I said, if someone's taking this for an indication of weight loss and you're setting them back, or even a diabetic, who may be extremely, we have like a broad spectrum of patients, and, in the Midwest, they're not all small. So if you have someone who really needs that control, I said, this is the deal. You're going to derail if someone who's maxed out on this dose in 2 weeks' time. Then they have to go back to the beginning and start all over. And
I would just say, I don't know. I mean, I think that they need to reevaluate that, like starting people all the way over. But I would say, on the medication side, having interacted with multiple people, including BJ Davis, who has had to stop a GLP-1, the concern is on the
stomach empty.
Yeah, it's on the what do you call it?
I propose
anesthesia.
All you need to do is be NPO, nothing by mouth, for a longer period of time. So a normal person is at midnight for a morning, for an extra 3. So, okay, I stop at noon, or I stop at 8 p.m. I think an extra 4 to 8 hours would be totally more beneficial And especially for healing, consistent blood sugars are optimal, whether you are diabetic or not, for healing. There needs to be more education in the healthcare system for how to deal with this.
Yeah, because they just kind of, I mean, it's not like these guidelines came in the packaging of these medications. There's nothing that says if you're gonna undergo anesthesia, please stop using these. I think it was anesthesiologists who probably went, whoa, this delays gastric emptying. Let's make sure they're off it. And I don't know if it's just out of an abundance of caution, because there are people, I mean, this is kind of gets back to the fake news stuff, but there's these people that are suing Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly because they have developed gastroparesis, which, is obviously not eating for an extra 4 hours is not going to fix that if your stomach's full of food that you've been trying to digest for 3 days or something. But those are really cases.
I don't feel like I retain stuff in my food in my stomach for that much longer. Like,
no, I don't
longer, but like I definitely don't think it.
I think that the people who do are the people who have rank, nasty sulfur burps.
Or put them on a liquid diet for the 24 hours leading up to.
Or 48.
Your outcomes are going to be so much better with that GLP-1 active. It's just your healing, your wound healing, blood sugars and wound healing. It's like, I don't even know.
Interesting. I haven't had
anybody. Jenny, I'm just saying. It's peas and carrots. It's Forrest Gump and Jenny. Like, they go hand in hand.
Yeah. Interesting. I've never heard anybody bring that up, so that's interesting. And Creamy Jalapeno, who's a nurse as well, I believe, said that she completely agrees, and she's been thinking the same thing about making the NPO longer. That's interesting.
Yeah, just make it longer. You don't have to stop the medication.
Betty says, nurse told me they're having problems with surgery patients having food still in stomach. But that could be just those people not following the rules either.
Also, fun fact, everyone, even off of GLP-1, digest their food differently.
Yeah.
Yep.
That makes sense. Interesting.
You're not full stomach. And first of all, you've got way bigger problems. You need to assess the habits, and are you having the sulfur burps? Because that is really old food in your stomach. So,
right.
Which is probably a lower issue versus an upper issue. It's probably not as much about the emptying, maybe about the motility. So, I mean, water.
Interesting.
Water's everything.
Well, thanks for sharing that. That's super helpful. So, one question that I want to ask you before we sound off, and we probably should do that fairly soon, but when you max out on Wegovy, and you feel like you've gotten all the benefit from a weight loss standpoint that you have gotten, are you going to switch to the Moon when it gets approved?
I probably would have switched already given the opportunity.
Yeah. So once it's approved, do you think you'll switch right over?
Yeah, I want to not have to take the phentermine to get that added boost. Also, I probably should go see my doctor, because what was it that you said people are getting very good results in combination with the semaglutide?
Topamax.
Yeah.
So
maybe that would be a better choice. I mean, I just think, I don't know. I don't know how to am I just looking a gift horse in the mouth? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. You're Matt, you're on 2.4, right? Have been for some time. Teresa with the super sticker. Thank you for that super sticker. I appreciate that. All of your gifts are always appreciated, but they're never expected. So thank you for those who choose to do that. That is very, very, very kind of you. So thank you. Sandra's been lurking and getting ready for bed, had a colonoscopy on MJ, and also had major surgery at University of Chicago and did not go off the medication. Very interesting. And nobody ever brought that up either. So that's interesting.
Well, you're liquid for almost 2 days anyway.
On a colonoscopy, yeah.
For liquid, which is all you really need to do for surgery. It's fine. Just everybody be your own advocate.
And you're also taking crazy laxatives too, right? In preparation for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Your electrolytes need to be replenished, by the way, if you do that. So, but I just think that the wound healing benefits and, the outcomes are way more beneficial, but definitely want to go on the moon or, the see ya bye, whatever it is.
See ya, bye. Or Lueo.
Yeah, we say see ya bye all
With
the time in our house when we're done with a conversation.
Some
Okay.
Some guy was telling me he found a whole bunch more, so we'll have to do another video. I'll be interesting. Sue said, Dave, is Topamax a combo drug? Can you explain that again? Thanks. So Topamax is not a combo drug. Topamax, the generic would be topiramate. Topiramate is the active ingredient in Topamax, which is the brand name. Topiramate is actually a drug that was developed for people who have seizures. And they found that in low doses, they could prescribe it to people and it helped with their migraines, and that people also lost weight on it. It has to some sort of mechanism of action in the brain, presumably the same mechanism of action that's helping people not to have seizures is like helping people to feel like full, like a satiation feeling. And so they prescribe it. So they developed a weight loss version of it by combining it with low dose phentermine. So you've got two active ingredients in a drug called Qsymia, which is a weight loss approved FDA weight loss treatment called Qsymia, and it is topiramate and phentermine. Low doses of both compared to what they're prescribed on their own. Right. So that's what that is. And Triplet Dad of TikTok, who was on several weeks ago, who was taking Rybelsus with his Mounjaro, that was very short-lived, and his doctor ended up putting him on a low-dose topiramate, 50 milligrams, I think, of topiramate, which is like, the people who are on it for their seizures are like 3 or 4 times that amount, I think. So 50 milligrams, and it kickstarted his weight loss again. And interesting update from him too. I want to have him come on the show and tell his story again. But I asked him in that interview if he thought that, because he started at 715 pounds. And then ended up, he's lost, I think, around 200 pounds, and most of it with Ozempic. And then he lost a few with Mounjaro. And now with the topiramate, has started again. But he thinks he's going to need bariatric surgery. So now he's going through all the steps for bariatric surgery. So GLP-1s helped him get down to a weight where he could be considered a candidate for weight loss surgery. He's going to get the weight loss surgery. And then my presumption is that he will probably use the GLP-1 in maintenance as well once he has the surgery and loses some weight. So very interesting stuff to see how this works.
I'm curious to know if he researched which procedure, which type, and
I think he said he's having a duodenal switch.
Oh,
does that sound right? I haven't talked to him super in depth, and I have been too busy to catch too many of his lives, but I know he's in preparation for it. He's going and getting all the things done right now. Like I actually invited him to come on if he wanted to tonight, but he was just too tired because he had like 2 different kinds of anesthesia today for whatever the pre-game stuff that he was doing. So yeah, it was cool to have him on. We'll have him on again, but well, this was a fun live. Thanks for joining me tonight. I'm glad that you were able to come on and share a little bit. And it's been a while since, I think it was a couple weeks ago you were probably on, but not a ton this summer. So I'm excited to maybe get back into a rhythm as we enter in the non-summer part of the year, which is just hard to think about, but the weather's getting a little cooler and it's my favorite time of year to be outside. So maybe we'll do some lives outside again, but thank you for everyone who has given gifts tonight. I got to take the shot, right? Where is it?
Also, while you're getting that ready, I just think that there's a lot of, it's funny to me that that this came up at work, the GLP-1s, because I think there's a lot of not understanding how many are actually out there. I think they just see the Ozempic or the semaglutide or the Tirzepatide, and then they are like, oh, that's one we got to worry about. They're not realizing that Rybelsus and Victoza and all of those others are the same. It's really funny. So thank you for all of your knowledge, because now I'm like, schooling them.
Yeah, I mean, I think the more that we can be armed. Thank you, Donna, for the big super chat of the night. I really appreciate that. That was so generous. Those super chats make such a difference at the end of the month to the profitability of the channel and everything. So thank you for the super chats tonight, everybody, and especially to Donna. But yeah, I mean, I can't learn about these medications and not share them with the world, and so that's what we do here. And so you're spreading the gospel. I'm spreading the gospel. Stacy with a big super chat as well. Thank you, Stacy, so much for that. I really appreciate that. And Stacy's been super generous, not only here, but over on TikTok. I was doing a live the other day too, and she made this whale thing come across the screen, and it was a whole deal. So thank you, Stacy. I appreciate that. It's very kind. But yeah, so we'll continue to do this, folks. We'll continue to share. We'll continue to share our journeys. We'll continue to share the news that we learn about all these GLP-1s. We'll continue to share about the medications that are in clinical trials. We'll continue to share about what they're learning about these GLP-1s as far as long-term benefits. And we'll share the ugly too. If negative things come out, you're never not going to hear that here. We share all the news here. That's what we do. But you are the best part of this channel. You, those who come on this live every week, who watch the videos, who like, comment, those who subscribes, and especially to those of you who are members of the channel. Thank you so much for being the best part of this channel. Chrissy, thank you for being here with me tonight. I so appreciate you. It's good to see you again.
Yes.
And I'm excited to get back in a rhythm of these lives. And so thank you everyone for being here tonight. You're the best part of what we do, and we will catch you next week. Thanks for being here.